Hello. Let's talk about hashtag EduMemes for a bit, and then attempt to relate them to a bunch of real-life applications and all that jazz. Everyone and their mother, and probably their mother's mother too in this day and age, has seen some kind of an image where there's a bunch of people riding bikes, or picking apples, or kids watching something over a fence, but they've all got some kind of impediment. They're all different heights, or one of them's in a wheelchair or something. And obviously not all of them can see over this wooden picket fence to sneakily consume some sort of entertainment without paying for it. So, of course, the supposed solution to these issues is some milk crates or boxes or whatever, but oh no, the boxes are all the same height and therefore we've applied equal solutions to the kids' issues and in turn only helped out one of them, the horror. The hashtag EduMeme then shows an image where all the boxes, all the milk crates, etc. are replaced with enough help for all the kids to see at an equal level, be it simply more boxes or a wheelchair ramp or a jetpack or whatever, and bam, there's your secret solution. It's been under our noses all along. The point of those kinds of images is to convey the information in the cleanest way possible, and effectively that's what it does. It teaches you that equal treatment isn't really equal. That true equality in this instance is really called equity. No, not the finance kind you saw in bank advertisements around 2005 and wondered what the hell old people were given bricks to bank people for. I swear that ad exists, trust me on this one, it's from Westpac or NAB or something. We're talking here about educational equity, which in really general Wikipedia but the words are changed terms basically boils down to a concerted effort to give proportional help via extra measures to people in need. So that's the basis for this assignment that we've got here. Equity in the classroom, equitable treatment of individuals within the classroom, and what the Australian government or just schools in general do to make sure that's the case. Basically, this means that I get to go through and dig through a bunch of boring documents and see if we can scrounge up some kind of real, non-corporate as hell definition of what this thing is all about. In the context of Australian schooling at least. UNICEF had a go at simplifying the United Nations' Convention on the Rights of the Child, which is 54 articles on basic human rights for children, but surprisingly to me, you can't find the words fair, equity, or even equal on their sneaky little PDF file. That's not to say they're ignoring it, it's just that most of their articles are more on protecting kids from more dangerous stuff like drugs, sexual abuse, and abduction. But that does mean we need to look elsewhere. The Disability Standards for Education, released in 2005, is one of those hardcore legislative articles with extreme legal jargon. But even through the divisions and subsections within subsections, it's easy to see there's a concerted effort to provide equity in the form of accessibility and opportunities for all students, with standards for participation and curriculum development. Participation seems to be the main line that these sorts of documents concentrate on, and while reading the Salamanca statement, that was really easy to see. The PDF version that I was reading even had a copy for the visually impaired. The most current big education government smackdown wahey in this country is a thing called the Melbourne Declaration on Educational Goals for Young Australians. It was released in 2008 and headed by the then Education Minister and eventual Prime Minister Julia Gillard. That document has a whole bunch of waffle about education in Australia being mainly used to train up jobs and build strong relationships with Asia for some reason. But there's also got a goal outline that clearly uses the word equity, and there's a little bit in there about data about schools being accessible to parents and also children with special needs getting a fair go so long as they're a human being, which is pretty nice. But if you really want to read one of these things that actually details a lot of stuff to do with fair and equitable treatment for all our students, the Adelaide Declaration, which is kind of the prequel to the Melbourne Declaration, is really just a lot better in explaining everything when it gets down to the nitty-gritty of it, which is pretty cool to see for a 20-year-old government publication. Something that's brought up in this particular document that I was really interested in was the idea that the learning outcomes of educationally disadvantaged students improve and, over time, match those of other students. Since we now know that there's mandates and a declaration in place to guarantee access, participation, and opportunity at school, what exactly is an equitable goal of education? In those hashtag EduMemes from the beginning of this video, you only saw everyone being brought up to an equal level playing field, which probably isn't going to be how it is in real life if you're a teacher who's good enough to properly implement education adjustment plans and bring up disadvantaged students to a high level. So I did some reading of our textbook for this class, some googling, and some philosophical thinking on my own to come to the conclusion that I've really got no idea. Some things I found suggested 1 year's worth of growth per student, but then that made me wonder about low achievers and how that would apply to them. And the Melbourne Declaration just says all young Australians become successful learners, confident and creative individuals, and active and informed citizens, which also sounds nice enough, I guess? In conclusion, equitable arrangements in this country are pretty clearly defined as a necessary thing for education and growth and general fairness. And if you do have some sort of an idea for a rock solid thing we could call a goal for equity, I'd absolutely love it if you sent me an email or left a comment below. Thank you very much for watching and putting up with my jokes. See ya!